Western waking so-called consciousness. Western waking from sleep.
Could we at least let Black Jesus hang alongside?
Forget it. The only Jesus I know is him, and the one thing he don't need is a partner.
Western waking so-called consciousness. Western waking from sleep. Western waking.
This picture has been in my family for as long as I can remember. When I was a baby, I don't know what I saw first. My mama, my papa, or this Jesus. Now, he's the one I know and love, so let's close the subject.
Should I be grateful for 11 months in a melanin maze? Suddenly drinking the Kool-Aid. Shocktober for 31 days. Halloween candy craze.
Dr. Theron D. Williams argues in his chapter, How History is Manipulated, that despite the fact that Socrates, though never acknowledging his skin color, described himself as having African features, wide, flat nose, and thick lips. See reference below. Yet all we know is Socrates and the picture that you see depicted. Why is that? Europeans were insignificant in the Bible until the New Testament with the appearance of Pontius Pilate. Luke, the only European writer of Scripture, chronicles Paul's ministry, which was mainly carried out in Europe and Asia Minor. Paul took salvation history as it played out mostly in northern Africa, and gave the fruits thereof to the Europeans. Thus, several of Paul's apostles were addressed to European Christian congregations. So what does that mean in the big picture? Hard hitting it in your face. Basically, he's arguing that Paul wasn't supposed to take that there, but he did. That meant that Paul must have been black, taking that to the Europeans. But let's go on. Hollywood has depicted characters like Moses, Jesus, Egyptians, Cleopatra. The problem isn't the context of the Bible, it's the hermeneutics. The power of movies can't be overstated. Each of us has a mental movie like Michelangelo's famous painting. In his chapter, Skin Color in the Bible, he gives some examples. Moses momentarily lost his skin color, his left hand turning white as snow. Exodus chapter 4, verse 1 to 7. Miriam lost her melanin and became as white as snow for a short period as divine relation for murmuring against her Moses. Numbers chapter 12, verse 1 to 10. Gehazi and his descendants' punishment for his sin of deception and the subsequent cover-up was to be turned white permanently. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 19 to 27. Yet we know that biblical leprosy was actually vitiligo. A good place to look for the definition of vitiligo is Leviticus. But hang on, what about Lamentations chapter 4, verse 7 to 9? He goes on to state, let's kick this crutch out from those that like to lean on it to say that the Nazarites were white. According to Dr. Williams, he goes on, he says, we have had the National Genographic Society in association with IBM conduct the Genographic Project launched in April 2005. The Genographic Project final's determination was that the father of modern humans is a black African. A profound theological problem here. Particularly in regard to the interpretation of Genesis. chapter 1, verse 26 to 27. He illustrates that there's two truths here. Elohim created them. Elohim created them to physically look like himself. He goes on to argue Greek men like Philo, Cleric Irenaeus, Thomas Aquinas tried to rationalize this. But yet the ancient Hebrew community viewed Elohim as a God who physically resembled them. The doctor makes it clear that the passage was described to empower the ancient Hebrew Israelites, to empower their community by informing them that the God they worshipped looked like them. This idea, as the doctor writes, should also see black people know that God said, "Let us create man in our image." If God must be depicted in physical form, it makes sense to cast God according to the anthropomorphic minds of the biblical Hebrews.
Western waking so-called consciousness.
If you like this sort of content, keep looking, keep questioning Official Black Truth, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Official Burnt Toast, questioning Official Black Truth.